what a lot of people don't realize when they go to like a Japanese garden is that literally everything is manufactured from scratch. So like all the stones and everything that you see, people like put those there and like arrange them in very minor detail to achieve like a certain atmosphere. And if the ground is like shaped like this or something, people literally dug that to like be shaped like that. And sometimes it looks like it's, you know, just like nature. Gardening is what Kyoto specifically does on a way higher level than like anywhere else in the world. Kyoto was basically like a valley, and then back in the day it was like difficult for people to travel and stuff. So like especially people that were like important or like in power, you know, they had to be at their temple or be at their, you know, whatever, like every day, so they couldn't get out much. So they developed a tradition of basically making poetic representations of like nature or wild nature in like very small spaces. So they would kind of start from scratch and like just build these like elaborate, it's kind of like what a bonsai tree is to like an old ancient real tree. Japanese gardens are like a small version of big nature, basically.
So like every single tree was planted there from a sapling.
Yeah, pretty much. And like specifically with trees too, if it's shaped like this, it's because it's been pruned continuously for like 50 to 600 years, like one little thing at a time for it to develop that particular shape. And you know, every plant that you see constantly is being cut multiple times a year for it to either have a certain shape or for the branch to grow in a certain direction. And they'll be like, oh, you know, here's this water and this is the sun, so like we want a branch to grow out over the water so that when the sun is shining there's like a shadow of that branch in the water. And like
that's so insane. That's why everything looks so beautiful here.
Yeah, totally. So it's super duper high level in a way that like other places in the world don't even think of gardens that way. But like here it's considered like one of the fine arts. So yeah, I'm just like obsessed with gardens. And
that's so cool. Wait, okay, so you said for bonsai trees, right? When you cut them round, you don't want to cut them perfectly round.
Yeah.
What do you want to cut them into instead, and why?
Well, I guess with bonsai it's slightly different, because with bonsai the idea is that the tree is everything. So the like aesthetic that you go with a bonsai tree is a little bit different than the aesthetic that you would go with for like a tree in a garden, because a tree in a garden is with many other trees and with other plants and other stones, so it needs to be balanced with the landscape. Like if you stuck a bonsai tree in the middle of it, it would draw too much attention to itself. Bonsai is pretty very like well established.
But that's just one part of a garden.
Oh yeah. Like in the garden, like the trees, they're not really considered bonsai, because yeah, like I mentioned, bonsai is sort of an independent, you know, you put it in a pot and that's it. Like that's everything.
That's like a miniature garden that you can have like in the corner of your room.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about like the aesthetics of a whole garden?
Yeah.
They have to do everything from scratch. Every rock.
Yeah. And there's like all these different styles through centuries and time periods, location, whether it's like a castle garden or a temple garden or like a Zen sect Rinzai temple garden versus a different kind of Buddhism temple garden, or like someone's house or like a priest's house, or there's all these crazy subgenres. And like way too much to learn.
What's your subgenre of specialization?
Oh, that's a great question. My subgenre of specialization is gardens before 1650, so roughly 1350 to 1650, that are centered around a pond and are meant to be viewed from inside of the building while sitting from a fixed position.
That's so specific.
But like that's like
so
a pretty
specific.
It's like a pretty it sounds specific, but like it's a pretty popular genre. So it'd kind of be like saying, oh yeah, I like rockabilly music. You know, like rockabilly music is specific, but it's still a thing, you know? It might even be less specific. It's kind of like being, oh yeah, I like Beethoven.
Okay.
You know, it's specific, but it's a big thing, you know? But a bonsai tree is supposed to be like everything. It's like the perfection, the imperfection, but usually with bonsai trees, they're like aiming to mimic an ancient tree, basically. So like something that has seen thousands of years and like has struggled kind of within its life, but still is still alive and like achieved a kind of timeless balance.
That's like the opposite of what it's actually gone through, though, right? Because bonsai trees get such great care.
They get great care, but they're also tortured a little bit. I think the original inspiration for bonsai was people finding trees like on the top of huge alpine mountains where like they're miniaturized because the conditions are so harsh that they only grow this much every year. And then wind, like burns off like a branch and then it becomes like decrepit. But they ended up growing very kind of stiff yet graceful, and they're sort of like mimicking that kind of feeling. So it's like beauty achieved through hardship and longevity.